We've gone faster, we've been higher, and now is the time to get stronger. Welcome to Express Sports Podcast, and this is the last episode of the preview series of the Pod of the Rings. The games are here. In 5 days, the audacious opening ceremony will take place on the River Seine, but before that, we have one last business to take care of. This is Mihir Vasavda. Joining me, as always, is Amit Kamath and Vinayak Monarangan. And in our final part of a 3-part preview, we'll be looking at athletes who won't just probably, hopefully, take India's medal tally higher, but they've also been working relentlessly behind the scenes to get stronger so that they're in position to do that. 3 athletes at least come top of the head: Mirabai Chanu in weightlifting, Nikhat Zarin, the boxer, and last, certainly not the least, Neeraj Chopra. Amit, these are the 3 names, but I'm sure we'll be kind of, digressing, deviating and talking about many more. But since we mentioned Mirabai up top, take us through. This has been a crazy Olympic cycle for Mirabai. Of course, a silver medalist from the Tokyo Olympics, but the 3 years since really haven't been kind to her.
Yeah, and she's had a crazy year, I think, since the Asian Games itself. She's spent most of it battling with one injury or the other. We've seen her compete, I think, in one tournament, if I'm not mistaken, and that was in Phuket, where she was 12th. Her tally was basically some 37 kilos behind the person who won the gold. So she's that much, there's that difference between her and the top at the moment. But it's Mirabai. Like, she did have plenty of time, since January to now. She competes, I believe, on August 8th, is it, Mihir?
Yes, August 8th.
Yeah. So between now and August 8th, she still has a lot of time.
By the way, it's August 7th. Sorry, I just had to clarify that.
Oh, okay. My bad. But yeah, point being that we haven't seen her in competition, so we can't say with conviction where she's at right now. We can only go by whatever her coaches are telling us, whatever she herself is saying. So she's had a very rough couple of months leading up to Paris. But then you never discount somebody who's already won a medal at the Olympics.
Absolutely, and especially in a sport like weightlifting, and more specifically in Mirabai's category, just to give some background, right? So Mirabai has always kind of been plagued by different kinds of injuries, but this one in particular was something that she suffered in September 2023, like Amit mentioned, in the lead up to the Asian Games, which kind of flared up during the Asian Games itself. It's like a hip issue, and she competed despite the pain and finished 4th. And after that, she has kind of been away. Vinayak, Mirabai's case is very unique in the sense that if she matches her personal best, she kind of is guaranteed a medal. And we are talking about a silver medal because a gold, unless, the Chinese girl, something happens to her, she's going to run away with it. She's that far ahead of the field. But then there are 3-4 lifters who are in that 200 kg mark, are in and around that. So all Mirabai essentially has to do is just kind of show up, do her personal best, and she walks away with a second Olympic medal.
Yeah, so from what I've seen in recent times, I got a chance to have a behind-the-scenes peek into Mirabai's training recently, and the person I was discussing that with, basically the team around her strongly believe that it is a question of fitness for Mirabai more than the field itself. Like you said, if Mira is anywhere close to her full fitness, she will be a strong contender for returning to the podium. But yeah, it's kind of a big if at the moment, given what we've seen over the last few months especially. It's, of course, not been easy, but I think from what we know about Mirabai in whatever time that we've been covering her, the one thing that always comes up when people discuss her is her discipline and her drive to be the best at what she does. One of the most disciplined athletes in the country is what we constantly hear when anyone discusses Mirabai. And she's been working hard behind the scenes, very diligently trying to get back to full fitness. I got a look at some of her fitness routines and it hurt me just watching those little clips. The amount that she puts her body through, it's crazy what these weightlifters have to do to just get stronger and stronger and stronger. And the one thing that really stood out was when one of the people in her team said that, it's something that we probably don't understand, but in weightlifting, every single session of training is a potential injury waiting to happen. It's probably true for many of these, physical contact sports, but even more so for weightlifting, given the amount of work that they do, and you never know when that injury could, make or break your preparation. So that's kind of what the tightrope that she has to walk. And like you said, if she is fit and if she's able to, the 90 that we've been talking about for her probably seems a little too far at the moment in snatch, but clean and jerk is a strength. And if she's able to get away from snatch with a good, decent lift, and clean and jerk is where she can make that magic happen. And if she returns to the podium, tremendous achievement. Any Indian athlete winning 2 medals will be absolutely remarkable in irrespective of what sport or what their story is. It's just about her fitness, and we'll have to see how that work that she's been putting in behind the scenes comes to help her that big day in Paris.
Right, yeah. And just to kind of summarize what Mirabai is up against in Paris, the out-and-out favorite for the gold medal is the Chinese lifter Hu Jihui. She, with I think combined lift of 217 kg or something, she's way ahead of the pack. Then Mirabai has Surochana Khamba of Thailand and Jordan De La Cruz of the United States. Now, the three of them have touched 200 kgs as their best lift. So Mirabai is, of course, more than 200. So if we were to look purely by the kind of weights that have been lifted, it will be between the three of these lifters for the silver and bronze medal. So yeah, very little scope of error for Mirabai. And like we discussed, if she is fit, if she is ready, then the medal's her for taking. Silver at least, and the worst case scenario would be bronze. Amit, if there's nothing else to add on Mirabai, should we move to our next big medal hope? And someone I'm really excited to watch, Nikhat Zarin.
Yeah, man, we should. Mir, what is it that excites you about Nikhat? Obviously, when you look at boxing, there's somebody like an Amit Pangal who's always spoken of highly. You have somebody like Lavlina, who's already an Olympic medalist. But why are you most excited by Nikhat in boxing?
Just a consistency, I guess. Look, the first world championship that she won, it was in away conditions. And we know how tough it is to win anything in boxing, a major medal, especially when you're... there's this whole thing, right, in boxing where there is a home advantage, quote unquote, for the boxers. And it gets seriously difficult to break that thing and be superior.
And Mir, that's just euphemism for something, right? Home advantage.
Yeah, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, or whatever that phrase is. But no, yaar, तो एक वो था. Her first world championship title came in seriously high quality field, and then she followed it up at home. So nothing to suggest otherwise. But even though the world championship that she won in Delhi, वो काफी diluted था in the sense that because of the whole Russia thing, a lot of American and Western world boxers didn't turn up. That kind of diluted the field. But it's also important to remember that it was Nikhat's first world championship in a new weight category. She had to drop down to 50 kgs because of the change in weight categories for the Olympics. So in that sense, it was significant and she won that. And even if you kind of, take those two world championships away, she's been, I guess, by far the most consistent boxer we've had in a very long time. And she's had to wait for this, an Olympic. It's her Olympic debut. Been living in the shadows of Mary Kom for far too long. And it's her chance finally. And just the confidence and the swagger with which she goes into the ring, it's really joy watching that.
Vinayak, obviously you've also seen a fair bit of Nikhat. Besides the things that Mir mentioned, what is it that fans should be most excited to watch Nikhat?
Yeah, he pretty much covered it, but I think that swag is something that you don't often see in Indian elite athletes at the top level. Just that confidence that she is among the best in the world. This is something that I remember discussing probably just before Asian Games. I don't know if with Mihir or someone else, or maybe in our discussions, that you could put Nikhat and Neeraj in sort of a similar category just for their consistency at the top level, and that feeling that when you see them in action, that almost always you feel like, okay, they're in with a chance, right? You never feel like, okay, so they're this underdog punching above their weight. That feeling has not been with Neeraj for a long time. We'll probably touch upon this in a bit. But Nikhat too sort of gives that feeling. The one thing that I would like to add on the other side, of course, Nikhat is a very exciting prospect for the medal. The one probably blip that she's had in recent times, if I remember right, from the Stranja Memorial in the year that she won the World Championships for the first time till the last Asian Games, I think she went maybe 4 or I'm not exactly sure of the number. She went multiple events where she didn't lose, right? A lot of final wins, not even 3-2 or 4-1. There was a period where she felt kind of invincible. And then Asian Games happened where she did just enough to get the quota and finished with the bronze medal. That, I think, was probably at the right time in Nikhat's career. I remember discussing this with Shashank as well, our boxing correspondent, who felt that, Nikhat probably needed a reality check is probably a harsh word, but a minor blip so that she knows where she needs to work on. Because at Asian Games, honestly, once the quota was won, it didn't, people would obviously allowed to win gold or silver. But the job was done when she won bronze there and she got the quota. So the one aspect that she needs to work on, and I believe we have the Nikhat Zarin story that went up as part of her countdown, is, when boxers try to nullify her strengths, right? When boxers slightly more on the defensive side try to clinch and get too close to her and prevent her from landing punches, that's when she can struggle. And apparently that's something that she's been working on. You should read that story on our website by Shashank. It's a good story on how Nikhat is a very effective mid-range boxer. It's worth reading. It makes her exciting to watch, but it also means that, she can be nullified by someone who could clinch her and getting close and all that. So that's evidently that area that needs to work on. The field is, of course, going to be really strong at Paris. A couple of some familiar names from her recent matchups will be there. So, hope her preparations are geared towards that, where, when someone tries to counter her strengths of being an attacking fast boxer, she's ready to adapt to that as well. I think that'll be a big challenge. But yes, I think she's just given her recent form and all that. She's, of course, one of the most exciting medal prospects from India in Paris.
अमित, तूने यार स्टार्टिंग में ये 2 जन का नाम लिया था. Amit, of course, mentioned Amit first up.
Right.
So that and Lavlina, we've kind of, spoken about Nikhat, but these 2 names that you mentioned, those are strong medal contenders as well.
Yeah.
I mean, was it just a coincidence that you mentioned Amit first up? या कोई तरह hidden motive था वहाँ?
क्या हिडन मोटिव हो गया यार? इट्स नॉट एज इफ आई गेट पेड मनी एवरी टाइम आई पेंशन.
क्या पता यार, अपने नेम से को तू प्रमोट करता होगा. लाइक अ सर्टेन A Das was.
It's not as if we have a society of Amit namesakes where we take a vow to promote each other.
I mean, look, we spend 23 hours of our day together working. I don't know what you do in that rest of the 1 hour that you live. तो पता नहीं यार, करता होगा ये सब शायद.
Right. Like completely wild conspiracy theories aside, I think Mir, what Vinayak also said kind of reminded me, slight digression. He said that, Nikhat is one of those like Neeraj. When they compete, they are always a joy to watch. There's always that sense that, kuch to, matlab, there is a chance that they are going to win. No matter who they are playing, no matter how big, how wanted an opponent they are playing, there is a chance that something can happen. In Indian Olympic sport, that's a slight rarity, right? Matlab, we always think that this Indian athlete might upset somebody, but that's maybe a 25%, 10% chance. But then with somebody like a Nikhat, with somebody like a Neeraj, you always think that aaj to matlab, it looks like they are going to win. Do you think of any other Indian, maybe Satwik Chirag hai? या फिर और कोई?
Not the same level of confidence. I remember यार, तूने एक चीज जो in our many Tokyo journeys, right, the God-forsaken hours पे जो हमने किया था, you'd given a nice theory which stuck with me, जहाँ पर तूने बोला था that Olympics is like this whole full game of chance, right?
Yeah.
Where we weigh एक आदमी का chance against the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if, at Paris, if 2 Indian events are clashing, where in one, say, for example, there is Nikhat or Neeraj, and then you have to weigh and kind of choose between the other, I think I'll go for either Nikhat or Neeraj, because the probability of them doing something remarkable is higher just because of what they have been doing consistently in the past. This is not to kind of, put down any other Indian athlete.
Yeah.
But Indians generally in big encounters tend to go as underdogs.
Yeah.
Think of hockey. And अगर जो हम बेल्जियम की बात करें, इंडिया वर्सेस बेल्जियम है, इंडिया will go as underdogs.
Yeah.
Similarly, I mean, Vinayak will be in a better position to kind of, talk about it. But say Satwik Chirag, if they are going against the top-ranked doubles pairs, they'll be slight, not underdogs, but they won't be outright favorites, or I don't know what's the most politically right way to say it, but they won't be the same level of confidence as Neeraj, for instance, at least to me.
Yeah.
And we can go on and on about it.
Mir, just before we bring in Vinayak, I think this reminds me of this theory that, I think Abhinav Bindra, India's first individual Olympic gold medalist, he had mentioned in his book, his German coaches had once told him that, if you tell an American ki you are the best, that guy will be like, okay, I'm going to go into the competition tomorrow and kick everybody's ass. But if you tell an Indian that you are the best, that Indian is suddenly going to think, oh, I'm the best, oh, I better not go and lose. So I'm going to thoda sa be defensive. So that mindset todne wale athletes thode kam hai. But then, of course, as you mentioned, Neeraj, maybe Nikhat.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe we're being a little too harsh on Satvik Chirag, Vinayak.
Yes.
No, I realize it. I realize what I was saying because they've been outstanding in the last year or two. And yeah, I do realize that.
No, actually, I think, Satvik Chirag still have to. If you're strictly speaking about achievements at the level that Neeraj and Nikhat have done, of course, the World Championships is a glaring miss. Olympics, I wouldn't speak about Satvik Chirag in Tokyo because it was a nightmare sort of mathematical situation that panned out that saw them miss out on the knockouts. But that World Championships gold is probably still, or Olympics gold or silver for that matter, would probably still be needed for Satvik Chirag to get into that conversation. But just the sheer consistency for what they did at Thomas Cup, for what they've done for doubles in general, I would put them in the probably maybe like half a step below Nikhat and Neeraj, but they are in the conversation because I think we have to remember their record in reaching finals, which, even this is something that's probably slightly controversial, but even Sindhu and Saina at their peak never managed to get that sort of consistency on the world tour where they could turn up in any tournament and reach the final. I think Satvik Chirag have done that in the last year and a half. Maybe Srikanth in 2017 comes close. But their consistency is probably very close, I think I would say, to Nikhat and Neeraj. But I think, we probably digressing and going to Satvik Chirag. Might have to come back to the stronger team.
They are technically stronger too because
they are very strong, yeah.
No, as in, people who are getting stronger.
Yeah, that leaves us, I think, enough time to discuss Neeraj Chopra. हमने काफी उसका mention किया in this podcast, but I guess it's...
Mihir, if I can just interrupt you. No, so just Amit and Lavlina, we didn't go into great detail. Just
Amit Kamath, we went into great detail about his secret life with the Amit Society.
The Amits, with the South Indian in that podcast, that really takes a different connotation.
I don't know, every time I hear Amit and Lavlina, I just feel that the stuff that they can do in the boxing ring kind of gets thoda sa overshadowed by stuff that happens outside the boxing ring for them. Like I was there at the Birmingham Commonwealth Games where Lavlina is coming straight 1 year after an Olympic medal and she managed to somehow contrive and get into an argument over where her coach was placed and something like that. So all of those things kind of thoda sa, I guess, sidetrack conversations about them. Maybe I'm being unfair. Could be completely unfair here. But it just feels like there are some athletes jinke bare mein the conversation is never very straightforward. It's never about their performance at events.
No, I guess you're right, especially with Amit Pangal because of, him being so open about the selection process and everything. He had to wait till the final chance to actually make it to the team, and he did. I think he's approaching the Olympics in a very professional and a mature way, away from all the drama and all the limelight. The rest of the boxing team has been training in Germany for the last few days. Amit has been training by himself in Shilaru with a proper support staff with him. So he has a plan, clearly. What he couldn't do in Tokyo was execute it. So, I'm very curious to see if he's learned lessons from there and implements it over here. With Lavlina, I think the biggest challenge for her will be the weight category, right? She's moving from 69, where she won a bronze in Tokyo, to 75. That's a big jump. Very keen to see how she adjusts to it at this level. So, one boxer that everyone keeps saying could be a dark horse is Preeti Sai Pawar in 54. So I guess that's the one to watch out for. Very speedy counter-attacking boxer. Who knows? Every Olympics throws up a surprise and this time she could be one. Right, so that's all punches covered in boxing, and the final punch will be landed by the golden boy from Tokyo Olympics, Neeraj Chopra. And this will generate, I think, quite a few mixed emotions right now because I'll begin by saying that for all the talk about confidence and all that we've had, Neeraj's build-up has kind of, thrown thoda sa doubts in my head, not about his ability, but just how prepared he is in terms of the fitness. Amit, Vinayak, who wants to jump in first?
I think you should continue, Mihir. Elaborate. Is this something to do with the Federation Cup?
I mean, that's what our colleague Nihal Koshi has been writing, that, the Federation Cup participation kind of flared up his injury. Look, I mean, the one thing that we know about Neeraj is he understands his body better than anyone else.
Yeah.
So hats off to him for recognizing the problem and then trying to address it. The only thing, in our head is that we haven't seen him at 100% in the last few months. So that's the only kind of, I don't want to jinx it by saying that he's a sure shot gold medalist or a medalist this time. That's, I guess, the only thing. Reverse psychology ya jo bhi aap maan lo.
No, I kind of, so yeah, I mean, we've spoken about this, I think, at length recently on how confident are we at Neeraj repeating his feat in Paris. I think it's a very similar discussion to what we had about Mirabai, I guess. I mean, the similarities don't stop at just chasing 90, I guess. But yeah, Neeraj started off the season very confidently in Doha. He spoke about, hoping to answer the 90-meter question even before he gets to Paris. He sounded very confident, as he almost always does. I don't know if the preparation has been the ideal preparation that he would have liked. Maybe one more event in Europe would have been nice, which I remember he had to skip one because of how close the Federation Cup was. And he later clarified that he was never intending to throw in Paris Diamond League, not at the same venue, but competing in Paris. Initially I thought would have been a big part of his plans, but he later clarified that that was never the case and he's not exactly injured. So there have been a few conflicting sort of signs from him. He seems to insist on his social media communications that he's taking care of his injury, his body is fine and all that. But yeah, unless you see him compete, that confidence doesn't really translate across to viewers and followers. So obviously that, again, like Mira, it'll have to be about his fitness. Also, I think the competition is going to be quite tight. Already we can see this year that Jakub Vadlich is in a good pace. I'm going to ignore Max Denning for this conversation, the German who threw 90 plus and got everyone excited at the start of the year and leading the list for 2024 in men's javelin. I'm going to sidetrack him because I don't know if he's going to be able to repeat that 90 again. He's struggled since then. So the conversation, I think, is going to be between Jakub Vadlich, who's been consistent as ever. 88.65 is his best this season. Julian Weber is back and he is throwing really well, 88 plus again this year. Neeraj is third in that conversation with his Qatar mark of 88.36. Anderson Peters has made a comeback from his horrific accident-related issues and he's throwing, after Qatar, starting well in Qatar, he's also back in the 85 mix. We have to mention Arshad Nadeem here. He competed for the first time, started with a 74 in his first throw and finished with the best of 84. I don't know anyone capable of swinging 10 meters in one event. He is one of those enigma throwers. So there is this 4 or 5 people in contention and it all points to a fact that if Neeraj is able to find that mark of 88 plus where he consistently is when he's fit, he is a strong medal contender. But yeah, that 88 plus is probably going to be needed to return to the podium.
Amit यार, हमने same kind of चीजें I think in the build up to Tokyo भी बात करी थी about Neeraj's ability and compare him to a host of German throwers and how they were closing down on the 100-meter mark and Neeraj was in 80s and all those things. And what happened that evening I think is something that will stay with all of us for the rest of our lives. Do you see kind of Neeraj, beating all odds and finishing on top of the podium again?
I think, Mihir, just to elaborate on one of the things that you mentioned, Neeraj is somebody who understands his body really well. Let me give you an example, right? At the Birmingham Commonwealth Games, he was one of those who was being, hyped to the stars saying that, he's going to definitely retain his gold medal and Arshad Nadeem aa raha hai, so there is going to be that India versus Pakistan hype and all of that. And at some point, just I think 1 or 2 days before the opening ceremony, Neeraj said that, sorry, my body is injured, I'm not competing. Despite all the hype and whatever was happening in the background, he said, nahin, main compete nahi. Now you look at somebody like an Arshad Nadeem, right? He goes on to compete. There is literally not too many people who can challenge him at the competition. I think by the second or the third throw, he's already assured himself gold. And he's also kind of stressed and muscle of his. It's perilously close to picking up an injury. That man still goes and throws all his 6 throws, ends up exacerbating his injuries and then spends some time outside. That day, we spoke to I won't give the name, but one of the federation officials from AFI who was telling us how stupid it is for somebody like an Arshad Nadeem, who's assured his medal by the second or the third throw, but still go on to throw all 6 of his throws for no apparent reason. He's competing against nobody at that point, but he's still, fake na hai. Kyun? But pata nahi, for no apparent reason. So I think that sort of maturity jo hai, that Neeraj has, and I don't think it's spoken about a lot, that understanding of your own body, realizing that, in some competitions, even if you throw 85, it is good enough for you to win a gold medal. And that's enough. 90 chase karna and all of that is good. Having 90 as a target is good, but nahi milega to theek hai yaar, gold medal aa gaya to that's going to be the goal. I think that maturity is something that is very rare in Indian athletes, or maybe athletes from the subcontinent in a sense.
Absolutely. And we obsess over the whole 90-meter mark. And in his head, Neeraj is pretty clear that he has to throw whatever is going to win him a medal that day. So it could be 90, it could be 85. As long as it gets the job done, I think he's cool with it. We can go on and on about, Neeraj and the medal prospects and all those things. But at some point, we have to kind of bring an end to this episode. And I guess 30 minutes is about the right time. Unless producer Shashank wants to kind of chip in with kind of prediction or two of how many medals India will end up winning at the Paris Olympics. You're calculating, is it?
No, he's probably Googling हमने Tokyo में कितना जीता था so that he can say maybe one more medal.
He's probably Googling what is Olympics.
No, I'm not I'm not doing any of that. But while you guys were talking, I thought I'll prepare an impromptu Olympics quiz for you guys. Are you guys up for it?
Brilliant. Bring it on. I've always lost quizzes.
No, I think it'll be easy. While you guys were doing all this, I was like, let me do something fun while we are ending this preview series. Okay, so I have 6 questions. Okay, and whoever answers first wins, basically. Okay?
Sure.
Vinayak, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. First question. Okay. What was
Neeraj Chopra.
No, that is not the right answer. Thankfully, there are no negative marks.
Okay.
So I'll continue.
Okay.
What was the first ever Olympic event?
Marathon.
Right?
No, that's not correct, but you're close. It is...
Shashank, I should just tell you that this is a very bad idea because by the end of 6 questions, people will know that we don't know anything about Olympic sports.
That's fantastic because then not only people will learn, but you guys will as well. So, perfect. So, but you're close. It is got to do with running. You're right there.
Oh, they were running with wine bottles, yeah?
No, they weren't running with wine bottles. But the first Olympic event was something called the Stadion, which was basically a 200-yard race, a 180-meter sprint. And as you can imagine, the participants were all buck naked because in ancient Olympics, everybody was naked. And
Second, yeah. Asian Olympics don't count here.
Why don't I? I said first ever.
We're talking about modern Olympics here. Modern Olympics itself are 150 years old.
I said first ever Olympic event. And that has to count ancient.
Okay, cool.
This is a trick question that I'm not on board with.
I don't think if it was not televised, I don't think it counts.
Oh, really?
Hi.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like videos or it didn't happen.
No, I'm counting.
Okay, second question.
No, okay, second question. Okay, second question. Okay. How many bananas will the culinary team at the Olympic Village, like basically how many bananas they think they'll need over the course of the Olympic and Paralympic Games this time, which will take place over 2 weeks?
What? I think it should be a couple of million.
I don't think we are going to be judged if we don't know.
No, but the closest one wins.
Couple of million.
3 million bananas.
Wow. Amit, did you Google that?
Of course I did.
Oh my God. Cheating हो रही है यहाँ पे. This is just sad. Okay, third question. Okay. And Amit, try not to cheat. So when I look up the Wikipedia page for the countries that have won the most medal in modern Summer Olympics, okay, so it's United States, Soviet Union, which is now defunct. There's Great Britain, France, and which country is on the 5th position?
Michael Phelps?
China.
No, it's not China.
Japan. Japan?
No.
Norway?
It has to be a country which does well in swimming, yaar. वही सारा medal जीतते हैं.
It is a European country.
Germany होगा, West Germany.
Yes, it is Germany. Yes, it is Germany.
Oh, that's surprising. That's a good surprise.
So far, only Amit has scored 1 point. I'm not counting that.
I mean, I was also kind of quick to Google the 3 million bananas, right? So uska आधा point to milna chahiye, I guess.
Sure, guys, sure.
Okay.
This is a relatively easy one. So whoever gets it first, okay.
Neeraj Chopra.
No, it's not Neeraj Chopra. Okay.
Easy one, bola tu.
Yeah, okay. Which is the only country to have hosted the Summer Olympics 4 times?
UK.
Ooh. No, UK has hosted the second most times, which is 3 times. Yeah, which is the first.
France also will be hosting 3 times.
Yeah, USA.
Yes, Mihir, you are absolutely right. It is.
No, can't be.
It is.
Kaisa bhai? Until 2028, then they will host it for the 4th time.
No, that'll be the 5th time.
हाँ मतलब but तभी हो जाएगा ना 1904, 32, 84 and 96.
Ah.
4 तो हो गया already.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair.
So that's what. Los Angeles will be the 5th time.
I think I win the quiz only because I named all the years.
We're sending the right person to Paris.
Okay, so now there's clearly a tie between Mihir and Amit. Okay, and this is the final question. This is the tiebreaker. Okay, so from
Neeraj Chopra.
No, it is not Neeraj Chopra, guys. It is not Neeraj Chopra. Okay.
I mean, this quiz should be declared null and void because none of the answers were Neeraj Chopra. Like, how dare you disrespect our golden boy?
I know, seriously. Yeah.
I am a complete anti-national when it comes to this quiz. Okay.
वो तो पता है.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the tiebreaker. This is the final question. Okay. So from 1912 to 1952, it was not just sportsmen that won medals. Okay. There were also medals awarded in 5 other categories. Okay. So literature, music, painting, and sculpture. What do you think is the 5th category? Now, this is very tough.
No, wait. Tell us again. Literature?
Yeah, literature, music, painting, and sculpture. These are 4. There's another category.
Poetry writing.
No.
Art कुछ होगा यार 100%.
See, because these categories were also further divided. For example, literature में drama था, lyric था, epics थे, and music में there was solo, chorus singing. But there's an entire category basically. And it has something to do with planning.
Oh.
Was it urban planning?
Architecture.
Yes! Vinayak, perfect. Okay, this quiz is completely tied. Mihir, Amit, Vinayak, all of you get 1 point. Excellent. Great. Tiebreaker भी tie हो गया.
That's it. That's the prize, is it?
Nice.
1 point शशांक के हाथ से लेने के लिए हमने इतना मेहनत किया.
Technically, none of us embarrassed ourselves. The podcasts are fine, I guess.
Exactly. See? Yeah. We are all winners.
That's true.
But Mihir gets the bonus point for naming the cities, so that's why he's going to Paris.
Perfect.
I googled fastest.
That's, I think, a good way to keep the whole podcast going, Shashank Bhargava. I think, good job. You get 10 marks for organizing this quiz.
Yeah, so it's such, कितना अच्छे से मैंने time utilize किया.
That's true. Clearly, एक भी बात नहीं सुनी जो हमने discuss किया वो, but that's okay.
वो मैं post production सुनूंगा.
That's so cool. But yeah, I think that's really a fun way to end our preview episodes of the Pod of the Rings. 26th is when the opening ceremony is. 27th is when the first medals of the games will be awarded, and there'll be 2 Indian teams in contention for it in the 10-meter mixed team air rifle event. It starts around noon India time, so a reason to kind of wake up early and get your coffee and nashta and whatever ready in time to watch Indian athletes in action at the Paris Olympics. 117 of them in action, and we will be there with hopefully a daily episode of Pod of the Rings through the games time. Do come back and join us. Thanks for listening.
You were listening to Express Sports by the Indian Express. This week's show was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar and produced by me, Shashank Bhargava. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it. Share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Podcasts and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.